Joining me now with more on the Gaza conflict and the latest efforts to negotiate a new ceasefire is Kurt Volker, a former U.S. ambassador to NATO. Want to welcome you. Maybe I'll fire the same question at you. It seems like it doesn't make sense to those of us watching from a distance. Right. What is the logic behind this? The ceasefire about ready to evaporate, and yet the rockets fired, the retaliation.
Well, certainly those of us who are living in the United States or in Europe or developed societies, we think, well, why can't people just stop fighting and let the humanitarian aid go through and rebuild and redevelop? That's what we would think is natural. But I don't think that's the right paradigm to look at this with. Both sides at this point want to pursue this fight for their own reasons. Starting with Israel, I think Israel feels that this is a time when it can make some strategic inroads against Hamas in the Gaza Strip, something that has been bothering Israel for a long time. We've seen the tunnels, we've seen the armaments, we've seen the proliferation of missiles, the potential missile strikes. Israel's been fortunate to be able to defend itself with its Iron Dome, but they want to go after these capabilities that Hamas has developed. Hamas, on the other hand, knows this. They want to continue to put pressure on Israel. They want to protect and preserve themselves. They want to maintain their preeminent position in Gaza. So they're determined to fight as well. So against that backdrop, these pauses that we see, they're designed to respond to public opinion. They're designed to create a bit of a humanitarian pause where people can clean up a little bit, get some supplies, bury the dead, treat the wounded. But that doesn't change the basic calculus that both of these sides want to continue this for now.
How do you change that basic calculus? Because that seems to be the effort that Egypt's trying. They've tried it, and it's fits and starts.
Everyone is trying, and it's the right thing to try, of course. But I think the only thing that is really going to stop it at this point is when Israel feels that it has made enough successful impact on Hamas's capabilities that it can be more confident looking ahead at security in the future. Israel has the upper hand militarily and has the upper hand capabilities-wise. And they're going to continue, I think, until they feel they've achieved certain objectives. And then they'll probably announce that and say, we feel that we have now done enough and we are prepared to move to a new phase. But they're not there yet.
It's interesting. I talked to another analyst last week who intimated to me that as these things drag on, you get these elements that are on the fringe who, we got to strike on both sides. Yep. And that the more measured voices tend to get drowned out. How do you get them back at the table and really kind of driving this
thing?
I
would draw a distinction. I think on the Palestinian side, that is true, that the radical voices who are speaking on behalf of people who are going through immense suffering right now, that is polarizing, and that is, we've got to fight back. Look at what they're doing to us. On the Israeli side, I don't think that's quite right. I think you have a struggle more between people pursuing security and military objectives in a strong but strategic way versus those who might be saying, let's be more measured about that without changing objectives. I don't think that the radicals in Israel are really driving this as much as the response is driven by that kind of radicalization on the Palestinian side.
We're going to have to leave it there. Kurt Volker, always a delight to see you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.